Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous IXL tutorial. Today we're working on IXL AA.4, find the slope and y-intercepts. All right, here we go. So the first step is to identify which is which. So the number in front of the x, or in this case, the x is the variable, is going to be known as the slope. The last value, without a variable of x, is going to be known as the y-intercept. So in this IXL, they're asking you is, can you identify what's the slope and what's the y-intercept? All right. So in this case, they are looking for something called the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the number that does not have the x, and the number that does not have the x is going to be the 10. So at this point, what I would do is, if possible, take a screenshot so that way you remember that, again, the number in front of the x is the slope, and the number without the x is known as the y-intercept. All right, here we go. We're going to start moving at a faster pace. So remember, the number in front of the x is the slope, 7 over 6, and the y-intercept without the x is 6 over 7. So they're asking for the slope. The slope is, again, the value in front of the x, which is both the 7 and the 6. So we're going to do a 7. And on your keyboard, you have a question mark button with a /, which will tell the computer you want division. So the / is going to give us division. Then we're going to put the denominator of 6. So 7 over 6 will be the slope of y equals 7 over 6x plus 6 over 7. All right, next up, just a quick review. 8 will be our slope because it's in front of the x, and with the sign, -7 will be our y-intercept. We are looking for y-intercept, which means we are looking for the number without the number in front of the x. So, including the sign, we're going to go ahead and put a -7 to show us that is the y-intercept. All right, here we go again. 1 over 3 is the slope because it's in front of the x, and 5 over 6 is the y-intercept. So in this case, because we're looking for the y-intercept, we will use the 5 over 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 over 6. And once again, when you're looking for the fraction, that is the question mark key on your keyboard with the /. All right, over halfway done. Moving right along. Y-intercept is the number in front of the x, so we're looking for 1 over 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 / 6. And notice I got it wrong because we're looking for the y-intercept and not the slope. So what I got to do is I got to slow it down just a little bit. All right, here we go. Find the slope. The slope is the value in front of the x this time. So I'm going to put 2 over 3. All right, catching up my score. Quick recovery. Y-intercept is going to be the value without the x. So the y-intercept is going to be the 2 over 9 because that does not have an x. Next up, we got 5 over 12x minus 1. We are looking for the y-intercept. The y-intercept is going to be the value not in front of the x. And we're going to include the sign, which is going to be a -1. Next up, we have find the y-intercept of the line. Y equals -x plus 5 over 11. The y-intercept is the value not in front of the x. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and put 5 over 11. Now, here's an interesting question before I move forward. What would happen if they're looking for something called the slope? And in this case, the slope only has a negative. So in this case, when this happens, you have a -x. The slope is going to be a -1x, where -1 would be the slope. So a negative by itself is -1. Or if you have this, you have x without a number. So when that happens, is 1 will be the slope. So you'll see that come up. You're like, Mr. Painter, there's no number there. Well, if there's no number, you're going to put 1. And if there's a negative by itself, then you'll put -1. That one might come up, but I wanted to point that out just in case it didn't. So we're looking for the y-intercept in this case, so it wasn't a big deal. But again, if you have a negative or positive without a number, use -1 or +1. All right, clear the board. We got y-intercept. Y-intercept is going to be the -9 because that's the value without the x, -9. Next up, we got slope. Slope is going to be the fraction in front of the x. So we got 9/13. So then now we have write your answer as an integer. Well, we've been doing that the whole time. Find the slope. Huh, I got my error from last time. The slope is directly in front of the x value. So the slope is 10. And voila. That took us up to 82 with one mistake. Not too bad. I did that in 6 minutes. Feel free to pause, back up the video as needed, and have a fabulous day.